John Rhys Davis here, Salah in Indiana Jones, and Gimli in Lord of the Rings. Give 'em hell, three guys and a flick.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
The years passed. Mankind became stupider at a frightening rate. Some had high hopes that genetic engineering would correct this trend in evolution. But sadly, the greatest minds and resources were focused on conquering hair loss and prolonged erections. Welcome back. You are listening to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's episode, Idiocracy. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from a Starbucks 500 years into the future, where they give handjobs, my name is Don. And to my right, we have the comic book guy, John.
Go away, Baton.
And for some reason, we can't find the professor.
He's probably still in his pod.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, that guy. However, we did find this strapping young lad walking down the street. Filling in for the professor tonight, welcome back, Nolan.
Fuck you, Eaton. Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Tonight we are talking about Idiocracy. Idiocracy comes to us from the Bronco Helmet, and it was submitted by one of our listeners, Jeremy Z.
Is that Z like in Z Boys?
Like the Z guys.
The Z guys?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Why do I know that and you don't? You son of a bitch. See what he makes us watch, Nolan? So thanks to Jeremy for throwing this into the Bronco Helmet. We hope you enjoy the review. Released on September 1st, 2006, Idiocracy was directed by Mike Judge. Screenplay by Eaton Cohen and Mike Judge. And it stars Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, Dax Shepard, Terry Crews, Andrew Wilson, Brad Jordan, and a bunch of other idiots.
How'd this movie do, Don?
This movie was made for $2 million and it brought in $495,000.
That's a little disappointing.
It is, but I mean...
Did you hear what caused a lot of their issues?
It didn't get marketed right.
Yeah.
It got not a lot of theaters, and it didn't get any trailer. It didn't get screened for the press for early reviews. Here, Tal, it almost sounds like someone was trying to bury this film.
Well, what happened was the film industries, when they finally saw the movie, they didn't like how the movie makes fun of sponsors and how, like Starbucks becomes this adult place. Pretty much every fast food became like an adult place, things like that. They didn't like it, but they were contractually obligated to show it in at least, I think, 1,000 theaters. So they showed it for 1 week. And once it was done after 1 week, they pulled it from every theater. And it got no marketing, no nothing. They wanted it done and gone.
Right.
And they were actually hoping to prevent it from becoming a cult classic.
Well, too late, because it is, in fact, very much a cult classic. Comic book guy, did you see this in the theater back in 2006?
I did not see it in the theater, but I think I did rent it.
Yeah. Mr. Nolan, had you ever seen Idiocracy?
I had not seen Idiocracy, but I got a glowing recommendation from my brother to watch it, and so now I had my excuse, and fuck you, Jake.
I'll say, how mad at you are you at your brother?
Brought to you by Carl's Jr. I had seen it. I did not see it in the theater. I saw it probably on DVD or whatever.
Part of the inspiration behind this movie was a 1951 short story called The Marching Morons by Cyril M. Kornbluth. I guess that story was basically about how the dumb people in society are outpacing the smart people when it comes to breeding, and that we are heading in a direction where just the smart people will be weeded out of society. And the sad thing is it almost feels like that's what's happening.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you look at things, I suppose. But this movie very much could, I think, be a reality in 500 years, just with the state of the world's in now.
Well,
so
Mike Judge was asked in 2016, with the current things going on in politics and everything, if he saw his movie becoming true. And he said, well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I will say that my prediction is about 400 years too soon.
For sure. Speaking of Mike Judge, this is not the first movie the three guys have reviewed by said director. Nolan, are you familiar with Mike Judge?
Did he write, or was it like King of the Hill?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then I've seen that. Good show.
Have you seen Office Space?
Clips of it. Yeah, clips of it. Because that has, what's the actor's name? I'd have to look him up, but there's an actor in there that I like.
There's a lot of actors in it.
Well, yeah.
Is he the main actor?
I don't know. Hold on. I'm looking it up. It's
John's going, God damn it. He hasn't fucking seen anything.
Well, Julie's now cursing him since that was Julie's movie.
Oh, well, I mean, this guy didn't even know who Al Pacino was.
You know who Jennifer Aniston is, right?
Oh, yeah. She's in Friends. There you go.
Well, she's also in Office Space.
John C. McGinley. McGinley?
Yeah. One of the Bobs. He's the Bob.
Yeah, is he the one that you like?
Yeah. He was also the doctor on Scrubs.
Stephen Root, who happens to be in Office Space, is also in this movie in a brief cameo.
Yeah, I know. And his hair looks awfully reminiscent to a favorite superhero of ours, doesn't it?
Batman?
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
He has like the points and stuff.
And the beard and nothing here.
Oh, Wolverine?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. You know what? We should just get into this, right? We should just get into this. Mike Judge. What did you guys think of Mike Judge's message here?
It was kind of a statement on where society is going. It's a scary thought that could be where we're going.
Yeah. What about you?
To me, I guess it doesn't draw direct parallels to this, but I just kind of thought of like you see in that scene where what's his name? Frito?
Yeah.
Frito's sitting in his chair with the, I don't know, little straw thing, and he's just kind of mindlessly staring at a screen. I kind of get that like vibe from, I don't know, like younger people these days with TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or just kind of scrolling through social media or, video streaming. So
yeah, it may very well be the downfall of mankind. These little gadgets we have.
Who would not watch a channel that was all about somebody getting kicked in the balls?
You know what? That's funny for about 5 seconds.
And the masturbating channel?
Well, they never really explained what that was, but color me intrigued.
They had someone someone using feet to eat their fast food or something.
Oh, it was the steak.
Yeah,
that's right. That was on the masturbation channel?
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Quentin would love that channel.
There it is, comic book guy. There's a movie reference for you.
Very, very good, Nolan. Did you catch what this movie's original title was?
No, what was that?
United States of America.
That sounds about right. So let's talk about this cast a little bit. Luke Wilson. Nolan, do you know who Luke Wilson is?
I believe he's in that 70s show, right?
He was for a little while.
He was
yeah.
a boyfriend for a while.
He was he was off and on in the show. That's probably the only thing I can remember him from. So
Interesting.
I always just say he's Owen Wilson's brother.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. I think he's a good actor. I think Owen's a good actor. And I thought he was pretty right for this part. What did you guys think of him as Joe?
He did a great job of just playing an average guy. It almost reminded me of last week when we did Shaun of the Dead, of just somebody who's coasting through life, doesn't want any change, doesn't want anything. I love the comment of, are you going to lead, or get out of the way? And he's like, I just want to get out of the way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. A very good everyday kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was well cast for this role. You know what's funny is actually while I was watching the movie, I was thinking in my head, I didn't even know his name was Luke Wilson. I just recognized the actor. And so I thought, he looks like Owen Wilson a little bit. I wonder if they're like related or something. And then you guys bring that up, so it just kind of confirms my gut.
Have you ever seen Old School?
No.
Interesting. Bud, we had to catch you up on a lot of things. How long is the flight to Turkey?
Hungary?
Yeah, that place.
You're never going to get that right, are you?
He's really not. He texts me all the time. He'll say, like, when are you going back to Turkey or something like that? And anyway, the flight, 14 hours.
Okay, that's at least 7 movies.
Yeah, we'll put together a list.
All right. Yeah, we're going to give you a list of 7 movies. Watch as many as you can.
Do I get 2 musicals?
Out of 7,
Yeah.
you can have 1.
One, okay.
One musical.
I'll have to think of the one.
All right. So be on the lookout for
Might
that.
be
That
Rock of
be
Ages.
Oh, don't do that.
Moulin Rouge.
No, dude, you're fucking killing me. Plus, there's already a podcast there. So let's make it so
Oh.
he'd have to talk about it.
The pirate movie.
Oh, there you go. See, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Maya Rudolph. What'd you guys think of Maya?
I love Maya in just about anything. I think she does a great job. She's got great comedic timing. I thought it was a little interesting for her to play a prostitute, but she looked good.
Why was it interesting that she was playing a prostitute?
It's just I didn't really see her as a prostitute, but
Who do you see as a prostitute?
I don't know, Britney Spears. Okay, I just got a lot of hate. I'm sorry to all of the Britney Spears fans out there. I should not have said that.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I've loved Maya Rudolph ever since she was on Saturday Night Live and Bridesmaids and just
Bridesmaids, my favorite.
She is hilarious. And you're right. I agree with you. She does have great comedic timing and she's just a lot of fun.
Well, I feel like she's got a little bit of kind of, I want to say elegance to her that's what I mean by putting her as a prostitute. She comes across smarter than that. She comes across more eloquent than that. So at least that's how she comes across to me.
I can see that. She was just a elegant prostitute. I'm sure they exist, bud. I'm sure you don't know her from anything. So how did you think she did in this film?
I think she did fine in this film. Like you guys were saying, I think she's like seemed to have like a very fun energy into the role. So it made it pretty good.
Yeah. Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard, usually I love him in just about anything he's in. I had troubles, at first some of the stuff there, it was funny, but it gets old real quick and his character kind of, started to bug me after a while.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Dax Shepard is hilarious and I watched him in a lot of things. And this being probably one of his earlier roles, I can see his behavior and the things that he's doing can get on your nerves quickly. What about you? Again, you probably don't know him from anything, but what did you think of Dak?
Actually, when I saw him, I thought of him as, he's that guy who's in that one thing. Because I know I've seen him before in something, but I cannot remember.
Hey, that's a start, I guess.
I know. But yeah, I kind of agree with John where it was just very a lot of this movie was kind of repetitive, but his performance in particular just wasn't very nuanced. So it was just it was there.
I kept having to think that these guys are getting paid a lot of bucks just to deliver these dumb lines.
Well, I don't know about a lot, but yeah, I can see that. I'm assuming that Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, and Terry Crews probably eat up a lot of this budget. So, but $2 million.
Speaking of Terry Crews, what do you think of Terry Crews?
I love Terry Crews and anything he does. My favorite role of Terry Crews probably right now is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You guys ever watch that?
Yeah, he's pretty good on that.
Holy fuck, you know who Terry Crews is?
Yeah, I know who Terry Crews is. What do you mean? Why wouldn't I know that?
Didn't he used to do a lot of those Irish Spring commercials?
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing that he's been in.
I also love him in White Chicks. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that, but I love him in White Chicks. And yeah, just about anything he does. He's in the Expendables as well.
Yeah. I was just thinking Expendables.
That's right.
There was also a lot of interesting cameos in this movie. Justin Long showed up in this movie, and I had forgot that he was in this movie.
It was funny because Justin Long shows up and he plays this doctor, and Elise is watching this with me. And as soon as Justin Long starts talking, I hear out of the right-hand side is, nope. Because every time Justin Long says something not okay today, she was right there to call it out. And I think that made it funny for me.
That is a good point to bring up about this movie is there are a lot of things in this movie that is said, the dialogue, things like that. And I know they're trying to do a testament on what things are like in the future, in this type of society, but things that you just can't get away with saying.
Yeah, well, back in 2006, you could. So.
Yeah, it really did not age well. This movie aged like milk, if you ask me. Like, it was just.
Yeah. And since we're on the subject, the effects took me out of it every single time. So,
did you hear where the inspiration for this movie came from?
I thought you said it came from that fucking book that you explained to us.
No, that was, that's kind of some of the, where the idea came from. But Mike Judge actually got the idea from the movie at Disneyland when he witnessed two mothers with strollers fighting each other.
Interesting.
And he just kind of came up with the idea of that's where our society is heading.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. I mean, completely.
we talked about the budget of this movie. The budget of this movie wasn't the highest budget in the world. And one of the things they had to do was save money on the wardrobe. So they were trying to come up with ideas of inexpensive wardrobe, how they're going to do things. And one of the things they came up was they wanted to come up with like a customized shoe look for the future, but they wanted to use something that nobody had ever seen. So they found a company that hadn't yet started marketing their product, and they thought their product was so ugly that it would never take off. Do you know what that product was?
Zoomies.
No, it was Crocs.
Crocs.
So that's why you notice people wearing Crocs in this movie, because they never thought Crocs would actually take off.
Idiocracy launched Crocs.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Holy,
They can be to blame.
that's crazy. I love Crocs.
Do you?
The movie's just bumped up a little bit for me.
Nice. Look at that. Good job, John.
There goes 0.5.
Yeah. I like it. I like to think that there is at least one redeeming quality in a movie, and this one had more than one, so it's got that going for it, which is nice.
Dude, are we at that time yet?
Oh, why, yes, boys, it is that time. Welcome to another edition of Master Movie Trivia. I am your reigning champ. You may call me the champ. I have compiled 5 questions and 5 questions only to test your knowledge of the movie we are reviewing. Each question could be worth multiple points, so if you know the answer, say it. And please wait until I am finished with each question. Let us begin. Question number 1. According to the movie, what is the name of the highest grossing movie in the future?
Ass.
Nice, Nolan.
Yes, yeah.
Very good. Question number 2. What is the name of the liquid that has replaced water?
Brondo?
Brondo. Point goes to the comic book guy. We're all nutted up at 1, boys. Question number 3. The popular burger joint Fuddruckers gets a new name in 2505. What is it?
Buttfuckers.
Oh, listen to Nolan, quick on the gun.
I love that they showed the evolution of
Yeah.
the name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, redeeming qualities. Butt fuckers. What is the name of Rita's pimp?
Upgrade.
Ooh,
With an extra D.
ooh,
Damn it. He just taught me.
Bonus question. Who played Upgrade? Anybody?
I got nothing.
Scarface,
Scarface,
well-known
that's right.
rapper at the time.
Well, not that well known.
I knew him.
I didn't.
Who?
Yeah, you're 12, first of all. How many years are Joe and Rita frozen for?
500.
Bonus question. What is the year when they wake up?
25 something? 2500? 2502.
No.
2520?
Wrong. 2505. Well done, boys. John, you squeaked ahead, just edging out Nolan, which means you are one step closer to movie immortality. In 2005, United States Army librarian Joe Bowers is selected for a government-suspended animation experiment as the most average individual in the armed forces. Lacking a suitable female candidate, the military hires a prostitute, Rita, by paying off her pimp, Upgrade, and dismissing charges against her. A scandal involving the officer overseeing the initiative and Upgrade forced the closure of the military base under which Joe and Rita were placed in hibernation, suspending the project indefinitely. Over the next several hundred years, average intelligence decreases due to societal expectations, discouraging well-educated individuals from having children as the less educated reproduce indiscriminately. Genetic engineering is foregone in favor of hair loss and erectile dysfunction treatments. As a result, infrastructure deteriorates, low comedy and explicit defines culture, and consumerism is left unfettered. So, this movie opens up, and it gives us a quick narration of kind of, the state of the world, and we are introduced to these two kind of candidates. You have the successful, smart, rich couple, and then you've got Cleavon, who fathers 33 kids.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys think of this whole opening bit and the narration and the setup of what was to come?
Well, it really does break down the whole point of the movie, the idea of why the smart people are not reproducing, and people like Cleavon. Did you catch when they showed the family tree, some of the names in the family tree?
I tried to look for a couple. Did you notice any that stood out to you?
No, I did not.
All right, hit us there, tough guy.
In the Cleavon family tree, Hank and Bobby Hill are visible, as well as a dog, a chimpanzee, a goat, Donald Rumsfeld, George W. Bush, and Condoleezza Rice. They are all listed in that family tree.
Oh, that's hilarious. So they're giving us the setup. We see the progression of the Cleavon side and how it keeps going, and then the smart side just kind of dies off, and then that lady at the end's like, well, I froze my eggs, and so hopefully a candidate.
Well, I like how the husband died masturbating into like a
that's right, to
test
give
tube or
yeah
something.
for a sample.
So his sperm sample. And then when you go back to the best part for me was when you go back to Cleavon's side, his like son, who's the quarterback, is like, I'm going to impregnate all of y'all.
Yeah.
And there was like 3 cheerleaders.
Right. And then we are introduced to Joe. What'd you guys think of this whole bit?
I thought Joe had like the perfect life. He was just down there in the library. He had his plan. If no one ever comes down here, he just has to make it through the next 8 years. And then he's out and he can, take his
8 years
of just doing nothing and just getting by. And he's like, can't you just leave me here?
Yeah, I love that. I thought this was a good introduction to his character and just kind of how plain he is.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Do you think he made progress towards his pension while he was in the pod and he has a bank account to draw
No, because I'm sure there's no records of any of that existing.
Damn, that's cold.
Yeah.
The death of pensions in America, I tell you.
I like the bit where the dude in charge says, you need to come with me right now. And he goes, what? Don't you want me to train this guy? And he goes, train him to what? Sit on his ass?
And watch TV?
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And so Joe gets picked for this mission.
Because he's the most average person.
Yep. And the mission is that he is going to be frozen for a year. Yeah, I'm sure that won't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the meantime, we are introduced to Rita. And
I love the slideshow of the guy who picked Rita, of him just hanging out with Upgrade and living the pimpin' lifestyle.
As the pictures kept progressing, the party kept getting more and more out of hand, and the uppers in the room were like, dude, come on.
They get put into the pods, and here's Joe basically defending the military, saying, well, there's all these scientists and really smart people, and they must know what they're doing. Kind of just, he's standing up for the scientists. For me, this was the example of foreshadowing in this movie, in that he's talking about the scientists like the people in the future are talking about Joe, how Joe will fix everything because he's so smart, they have full confidence in him. Well, Joe has full confidence in the scientists that they won't fuck this up. So he's trying to convince Rita that they're smart. They won't mess this up. We'll be just fine.
Yeah, because Rita is actually scared of Upgrade, right?
Well, she's scared of Upgrade, and she's scared of having any of these tubes in it and going to sleep and all that stuff.
I thought it was funny that she tells Joe that she's an artist, right? And so she doesn't admit that she's a prostitute. And it's a running bit throughout the movie that Joe keeps telling Rita, make sure you keep painting.
Yeah, does he ever get it in the movie? I don't think he ever realizes that she's a prostitute.
I don't think he does either.
Because even at the end, she's painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
500 years later, a garbage avalanche disturbs Joe and Rita's hibernation chambers. Joe awakens in Frito Pendejo's apartment in previously occupied Washington, D.C. Seeking assistance, Joe's higher register conflicts with average anti-intellectualism. He enters a hospital believing the army administered to him hallucinogenic drugs. Joe realizes the year upon reading a magazine and his hospital bill, but he is arrested at Carl's Jr. for not having a barcode tattoo and being unable to pay his bill. Joe is arraigned and sent to trial. Frito represents Joe, but alleges he destroyed his apartment. The judge perceives Joe to have an effeminate voice and homosexual demeanor, finding him guilty and sentencing him. Rita resumes her job as a prostitute.
So this garbage avalanche, did you catch what caused the avalanche?
Yeah, they dropped like a can.
It was a can which should have gone to recycling.
Oh.
That was a kind of a little joke they put in there.
I didn't even pick that up. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, no, I did see that.
Yeah. So they give us a montage of the years progressing and, the earth and everything kind of just going to shit. And I think it's these effects that do not age well. It just looked weird. You know what it reminded me of? That mound of garbage? It reminded me of Wall-E.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Wall-E?
Yeah, that's what kind of reminded me too.
I thought of the same thing, and I like the CG in this movie. Like you were saying, it's definitely aged. But throughout like the background of the scene, you can see all the different like garbage trucks just driving through the pile, like even as the avalanche flows, like between them. And I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. The avalanche disrupts the pods, and Joe crashes into Frito Pendejo's apartment. What'd you guys think of this whole bit with Joe waking up and looking for help and all that shit?
Well, I love that Frito doesn't like even take his eyes off the TV. He's just, watching the TV and sucking on his food or whatever it is. And I love how when he finally does get up, he's sitting on a toilet.
Yeah, do you notice that?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was pretty funny too. Like he just would not move his gaze away from the screen. It was just very like nonchalant, even though an entire wall of his apartment just got knocked out.
And he's pissed off that Joe is interrupting his watching the TV.
Yeah. So Joe needs help and he goes to a hospital. And this part kind of made me chuckle. When he walks up, did you notice the control or the keyboard, I guess?
That's kind of like what fast food places have gone to. Instead of saying like what food is serving, they now show pictures of the different meals that people can push the pictures. So it makes sense. Maybe hospitals would eventually go to something like that.
Yeah. Did you catch all of the symptoms?
I just saw like there was a lot. Like there was like knife to the head, like gun to the head, like just a bunch of random or not random, but just assorted injuries.
Like traumatic injuries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything for a cough or sickness but who knows? And so he goes in and he sees Justin Long, Dr. Alexis. What'd you guys think of this bit?
I thought Justin Long was amusing. I thought he was funny. I do understand the whole confusion and the double takes of what year it is and all of that. But again, you're kind of dealing with, Joe and these people that are just kind of, I don't know if they're supposed to get on your nerves.
I'm sure they are. Because did a lot of the people from the future get on your nerves?
Oh, yeah.
Then the movie did its job.
That's what I'm thinking. Because it's like, I don't know how to put it, but you ever like seen those movies, the 80s, the jocks, the stereotypical, who are like, everything is, you're all just a bunch of and blah, blah, blah. That's what the world has turned into. And so he's dealing with this whole world, these guys that just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Who would probably be the villains in any 80s movies.
Right. And there's a bit where Justin Long keeps talking shit, but he's doing it like he's giving him treatment, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And Luke Wilson actually has to say, hey, be serious for a second. And he doesn't know how to handle it. And then it turns out that Joe can't pay his bill because he doesn't have one of those barcode
which
tattoos.
Freaks out Justin Long's character.
It legitimately freaks him out. He's scared because these people don't know what to do when something's different. Mm-hmm. And now Joe is this different person, and Joe freaks out and he takes off.
Before Joe gets in to see the doctor, there's the scene where he has to do the the diagnostic test, and the guy holds the 3 tubes up for him. He's like, this one goes in your mouth, this one goes in your ear, this one goes in your ass.
And then he gets them mixed up.
Yeah, or no, he puts it in, and then like the machine starts like having a malfunction. He takes them and he starts like shuffling them, and you can see Joe's leaning over there like trying to keep track of the right two.
Yeah. There are a few bits in this that made me laugh out loud, and that was definitely one of them.
I loved it.
That was clever, right?
But he then runs to the water fountain, which is the Brando fountain or whatever.
Yeah, it tastes like Gatorade, because it has electrolytes.
Yeah, and he asks like the orderly or the nurse there. He's like, "Where can I get some water?" Like water, like from the toilet.
Yeah, and that becomes a running gag as well.
So Joe runs away and eventually gets picked up by the police. What do you think of his whole going through intake and all of that?
I got to be honest. I thought it was kind of fucking dumb. And I don't know why it takes him that long to say, hey, I'm supposed to get out of jail. But I think maybe that's the point. And the bit where the guard smacks him and says, you're in the wrong line, dumbass. I chuckled.
Yeah. Well, I just like his whole arguing with the computer of not sure, and that his name becomes not sure.
Oh, the whole naming process?
Yeah.
Oh, drove me up the fucking wall. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I thought both those bits were pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe it's wrong to find this funny, but I also like the bit where he's walking past, or when he's standing in the line at take-in, and you can see the group of prisoners where the guy's sitting on the other dude's face, and they're all pointing at him like, "You're next."
Well, I was trying to figure out, did the guy have 3 legs, or was he sitting on somebody?
He was sitting on somebody.
Oh, okay.
And then all of the dudes around him, they're all pointing at Joe. I thought that was kind of funny too.
I also like, when that whole scene happens with, I think I'm in the wrong line, I'm supposed to be getting out, and he goes up to the next guy, and the guy's like, well, you're not in the record, so you're going to have to go back in. You can't leave prison. And he's like, well, can you go look at the files? And the guy turns around and he just runs away.
Yeah, yeah. And that's who we're dealing with.
And the machine guns shoot each other.
Yeah. And so he runs and he gets arrested again.
Well, his barcode keeps setting off the scanners. And if you catch in the background, like when he was at Costco later on, the things are like, the crimes that it's reporting is for being a dick.
Oh, is it?
And for running away from prison or something like that.
Yeah. So his barcode sets off the alarm and the police come and arrest him. And this time he goes to jail. And I like how they ensure that he doesn't escape.
Yeah, that they hook him up to a big rock,
a big ass rock. And then you see the only way he can get around is when he walks. They have to have a forklift with that rock.
Well, did you catch that they dropped the rock down some stairs?
And then he pulls him
dragged away.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of the whole court bit?
Well, I like,
and then it turns out that Frito's his fucking attorney.
As we mentioned earlier, I liked Stephen Root as the judge. I thought he was kind of funny. He kind of came up with like a southern country accent for it, which was an interesting take on it. But yeah, having Frito turn out to be his lawyer who was just pissed off at him for ruining his place, it had some amusing moments.
It's funny that you mentioned that about Stephen Root's accent, because the dialect in that future is what? Hillbilly, slang, and across the
Valley Girl.
Valley Girl, yeah. What do you think of this whole court scene?
I thought the court scene was pretty funny, like how him and Frito just kind of bicker in the beginning, and then when he has to stand up, he just immediately turns on him, even though he's his own counsel. It was pretty good, I thought.
I want a mistrial. I'll mistrial up your ass
if you don't shut up. And this is also where I kind of noticed that Luke Wilson is another one of those actors that kind of plays the same character.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been in Old School. I mean, that could have been the same guy, right? But I thought it was amusing. And isn't it from here that the president wants to see him?
It was from his second arrest. I know that instead of going to prison, he actually got taken to the White House because of while he was being processed and everything, he takes an intelligence test, which I love the bucket question. You have a bucket full of 3 rocks and you have a bucket full of 12 rocks. How many buckets do you have?
He's like, 2 buckets?
And then he looks over and the people are trying to put the pegs in the holes and one guy's trying to cover it up so he doesn't cheat.
Right. Yeah. And in the meantime, Rita has been thawed and she is making her way around and she's street smart. So she kind of, goes back to what she knows. And I think it's funny and kind of clever that the guys are so dumb that they're going to pay her to wait for her.
Well, they're prepaying her for sex in the future.
Right. But she says, tomorrow, baby, tomorrow. And he's like, oh, yeah, tomorrow.
Which I thought was kind of an interesting thing, that this guy is throwing cash at her, but we've already learned that all of the transactions are done through the barcode on the skin. So why did that guy have cash?
Because cash is another commodity.
You think it is in this world?
Yeah. For prostitutes.
Okay.
I mean, until prostitutes can take a bar scan. Am I right?
Well, it sounds like Starbucks and Carl's Jr. is a place you can go and get prostitutes. So why wouldn't you just use your barcode?
Rita didn't work out any of those. And you'd pay cash for Rita, wouldn't you?
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Smart. Joe is sent to a correctional facility where a faulty identification machine registers his name as not sure and takes a simplified aptitude test. He escapes from prison after erroneously informing a guard that he has served his sentence. Joe visits Frito, who agrees to guide him to a time machine located within a large Costco wholesale store. After Joe promises to create a savings account in Frito's name, earning him billions in compound interest, with Rita, Joe, and Frito enter the store, but Joe is arrested after his barcode is scanned. Joe is taken to the White House and appointed Secretary of the Interior by President Dwayne Camacho for his performance on the aptitude test. In an address, Camacho states that Joe will resolve unfruitful crop yields, dust storms, and a stagnant economy, among other issues, within a week or face imprisonment. So yeah, I mean, this movie's kind of all over the place like we are. He escapes and then he gets caught and he has to go to a correctional facility. And we already talked about, his name being not sure and taking the aptitude test.
Did you notice as Frito is kind of driving them around and driving them to the Costco, how large the Costco was?
Oh, that thing was fucking massive.
Yeah, it looks like a Costco has taken over everything.
Yeah.
Just looks like a regular Costco to me.
Yeah. I love when they go into the Costco. Did you see there was like a whole section of just the same couch?
Yeah. Yeah. And how they walk in and someone says, it's going to take us an hour to walk, to the other side or halfway through or whatever.
I love the greeter of welcome to Costco. I love you.
Or I just think with all the greeters and like service staff you see in this movie, it's like all their faces are just so apathetic. Like there's just like blank stares, nothing there while they just yeah.
The lights are off and nobody's home.
Yeah.
Right. And in the meantime, Joe had reconnected with Rita, and then they find Frito, and you're right, they're looking for a time machine. And I guess it's not out of left field for Joe to think something like that would exist.
Well, for me, 500 years have passed. Yeah, he thinks they should have been able to develop time travel by now. But just looking at the people he's dealing with, why would he think these people would have a time machine?
That is a great point, comic book guy. And so there is a possibility of escape, I guess, if you will. Joe has it in his mind that there is a time machine, and he asks Frito, and you're right. Why on earth would you even think that Frito would be right about this or anything? And it'll pay off in a bit. So Frito and Rita and Joe, they go to Costco and they're getting ready to go to the time machine. They have to catch a train within Costco.
One ongoing joke that I kind of appreciate, I kind of enjoyed, was Rita every so often bringing up that Upgrade will find her. That, they keep building up to this payoff of, I don't care if we're 500 years in the future. He's pimping. He's going to get his hoe.
That's right. And Joe's always kind of like, nah, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, your boyfriend sounds like a real jerk.
I also do like the bit where Joe is explaining to Frito, if you help me, I will make a bank account and, all of that stuff. And then he starts saying, well, if I do it, how come I'm not rich? And how come you're not rich? And why am I still here? And he starts to work time travel.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
He's like, well, maybe I just haven't done it yet or whatever. And
yeah. And so while at Costco, they're getting ready to catch a train. Rita has to go to the bathroom. So she leaves and it's just not sure and Frito. And Joe's scanner goes off and naturally he gets busted again. And this time, instead of going to jail, he is summoned by one President Camacho.
Did you catch Camacho's full name?
Yes. Dwayne Alonzo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho.
Yeah. I love the fact that, did you catch everybody's somewhere in their name was some product like Frito, Mountain Dew, these kind of things.
Yeah.
Doritos.
Tylenol.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys think of when Joe gets taken to the White House and he gets introduced to all the secretaries?
I thought they were way more efficient than our current government.
Why do you say that?
They seem to be getting things done.
What did they get done?
Well, they hired a smart guy to try to fix their things.
What do you think?
I thought it was funny when they were all just kind of sitting around questioning him before the president shows up, and then he just busts in. He has the women behind him, and he's got his giant gold medallion, whereas everyone else is wearing like the silver ones. I thought that was really funny.
Well, we had another actor again from Office Space. Do you remember what his name was?
He plays Michael Bolton in it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember his name.
I love the fact that after everything he said, he had a line. Was it about Brando because he was getting paid by them? Or
No, he kept saying brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Oh, brought to you by
Yeah.
Carl's Jr. because he was getting paid by him.
Well, he thought he was getting paid
I make money every time I say it.
every time he says it.
Mm.
And so the president tells him, because you're so smart, you're going to be the Secretary of Interior. And Joe's like, what the fuck does that do?
But does anybody know what the Secretary of Interior does?
Nolan does. What does the Secretary of Interior do, Nolan?
They secretary the interior.
Oh, see, it's in the fucking name.
Yeah,
He's
it
the new
says-
professor.
It's like trash can. It's like it says what it is in the name.
Nice. I like how each one of the secretary members had a gold medallion or a medallion to signify, that's who they were.
Well, I also love, I don't know if you had noticed it throughout the movie, everybody had a horrible haircut.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, they were all just like, it looks like someone just snipped anywhere they wanted to snip.
Which makes sense because nobody's smart,
Yeah.
So yeah. Which one of the secretaries was your favorite? Or which one made you laugh?
Probably the kid. There's one scene, I think it's in one of the cabinet meetings, where he's just drinking out of a bottle of whiskey, but he's like this little guy. Like, it was just I thought that was very comical.
I thought it was the woman who kept mispronouncing everything.
Yeah.
I thought she was good. I really liked Camacho's president when they introduce him as, an ex-wrestler, porn star, all the things that he did. It seems like that guy would win president.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine a future where a celebrity is picked as a president?
No, I can't imagine at all. My favorite was the Secretary of Education, the dude who was all cross-eyed.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the part where he was pointing a gun at his face?
Yeah, he was looking down the barrel.
Yeah.
So President Camacho tells Joe, because you're the smartest motherfucker alive, you're going to fix all of these problems. And so Camacho says, look, you're going to fix all of this shit or you're going to go to fucking jail.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah, but if he does fix it, he gets a presidential pardon.
That's right. Joe visits a crop field near a museum and sends Rita to him. Frito, whom Joe boasted as an intellectual, gives him an incomprehensible map to the time machine. Joe discovers that the country's crops are being watered with Brondo, a sports drink whose parent company owns the Food and Drug Administration, the Department of Health, and Human Services. And the Federal Communications Commission. The concentration of electrolytes in Brondo destroyed natural topsoil, causing dust storms. Despite opposition to his plan in the form of circular reasoning from the cabinet, Joe convinces Camacho to use water instead of Brando in irrigation. Consequently, Brando, who employs half of the population, files for bankruptcy. Inciting riots as immediate improvement to the crops did not materialize. Joe's freaking out and he goes to Frito and Rita for help. And what'd you guys think of the bit where they have to go out and look at the desert?
I just love how, Joe's sitting there going, what the hell am I going to do? I don't know anything about this. And so his whole plan is to get Frito to draw him a map to the time machine. He tells him that he needs Rita, so they go out and get Rita and bring Rita to him. And then they go off basically claiming that they're going to go shag in a bush.
Right. I like what the guards say. They walk up and say, hey, man, we were wondering if we can just all go family style on her or...
And doesn't he say like maybe later?
Yeah.
Now's not a good time. Maybe later.
And it's here that we realize that it's Brando being used to water the fucking fields.
Yeah, because it makes sense. It has electrolytes.
Yeah, but it's not water.
Every time he brings up water, like from a toilet.
Yeah. He goes back and he's talking to his administration and he's like, why are we using Brando? And the whole conversation, it just keeps going back and forth, right? Because Brando has what plants need. It has electrolytes, back and forth. I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, I love how ingrained commercial slogans are in these people's heads. It's what it needs. Kind of like how, we used to always say, where's the beef? Or, things like that worked into our dialogue.
Right.
After that, isn't it where we have the press conference that Camacho basically tells all the people, we're going to fix this. He's got a week to do it. If he doesn't do it, we're going to kill his ass.
Right.
Basically send him back to prison or whatever. What do they call it when they're fixing somebody?
The Monday
Rehabilitate.
night, what was it?
Wasn't it like rehabilitation or something like that?
Yeah, Monday night rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And so Joe decides, hey, we got to use water. That's the only way it's going to make these crops grow. He gets them to change it. And I don't know, a day or so goes by and Brondo files for bankruptcy and the world completely turns on Joe. What do you guys think of this whole bit?
Well, I thought it was funny is that we get another cameo from Thomas Hayden Church, who's the president of Brondo or whatever. And as he puts it, when you stopped using Brondo, our computers decided we were bankrupt and they fired everybody automatically.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
And they
funny.
couldn't fix that. Just it happened automatically.
Right. But it's kind of true, right? In corporate America and things like that. You stop using the big service and the doors close, I guess.
But this shows, that Joe isn't perfect. He didn't know that the economy was controlled by Brondo.
Right. He was just using common sense that water would fix the crops.
Mhm.
Yeah. What'd you think of this whole gag?
When everything starts going to shit, like after Brondo's announced its bankruptcy, there's this scene where it's like basically a bunch of the people are storming the White House. Like you see there's like this massive horde climbing over the fences and stuff like that. To me, I mean, even though it's the White House in the film, I just kind of thought it was like a interesting prediction, parallel sort of thing to like January 6th and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
It was just like I don't know, you could see like the guards standing by the gate and like everybody, like the panic of it. It was just.
Right. Because people are panicking. And now Joe's in some real trouble because he just kind of broke the world.
Yeah. So, of course, they're going to send him off for rehabilitation.
At the extreme court, Joe is sentenced to be publicly executed in a monster truck demolition derby against undefeated rehabilitation officer Beef Supreme. Rita and Frito discover that Joe's reintroduction of water to the soil allowed crops to grow. Rita pays a cameraman to broadcast the crops on the stadium's Jumbotron, prompting Camacho to grant Joe a presidential pardon. Joe discovers the time machine was an amusement ride, a detail Frito was conscious of. He becomes president and marries Rita, with whom he has 3 children. Roll credits.
Did you catch that while he had 3 children, what was it? Frito had like
8 wives. 30 or
30
20 children.
So it's still going on.
Right, and it's 33 children. 33 is a number that pops up a couple times in this film. So I don't know if there's a significance to it, but 33 something.
So what'd you think of this whole monster truck thing? Joe's back to having the rock around his neck.
So these trucks come out, and again, the CGI is kind of hokey, but I mean, they just look like real pile driving kind of machines.
I thought they were very phallic looking.
Well, yeah, and
I was gonna say that's definitely purposeful. Like they have the 2 huge trucks and then the one where they're like give it this grand entrance and it can't even fit through the tunnel, and really it's just sticking that drill piece through the tunnel and it looks extremely phallic there.
Right. And then I thought the same thing, and it wasn't until they show us Joe's vehicle and it has the limp one.
Yeah.
I went, oh, okay, but yeah, other than that, I mean, this whole sequence to me was hokey and
That's
quite frankly absurd.
that CGI just jeez,
It just doesn't hold up.
no.
Yeah.
No.
And naturally, the water's going to work. And because people are impatient, we're in the situation we're in. But in time, the water worked and we got greenage. And Rita was smart enough to get Frito to help her.
Well, she gets Frito to go and hires the cameraman. And I love when they get to the location, they see the Starbucks.
Oh, right.
It's like they totally just forget why they were there and they go get the extra foam.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
if that really existed, tell me that would not be a distraction.
Well, then they get there and they're like, "We have all this money. Like, what? Why? I think we were here for Starbucks." Like, and then they just drop their camera they bring with them, walk in there.
Right. And the camera happens to catch the grain foliage.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe is saved and he gets a pardon. And now he's thinking, I can get in the time machine and I'm going to go. And Rita's like, you know what? You should go. I'm going to stay here. And Joe's like, as long as you just keep painting, Rita.
Well, here's my thought. If Joe goes back in time, if it actually worked and he can go back in time, he's going to go back to being an average person in a society where he's just kind of left behind. By staying in the future, he's obviously above average. He's the smartest person, well respected, and probably can do whatever he wants. Which one would you choose?
Oh, I know what I would choose. And I would stay and rule the fucking world.
Yeah. How
That's
about
what I
you,
would
Nolan?
do.
What would you do? Would you go back in time to be with your family or whatever? Or stay and pretty much rule the world?
I think I would want to go back in time. I think I would need some intellectual conversation to kind of keep my brain from rotting. So.
Oh, you're such a good dude. Me, I'm fucking global dominance. And he's like, oh, I want to go back. I want to have an intelligent conversation.
Okay, maybe rule the world for like 10 years, but then I'd be like, I've had my fill. Time to go visit my family and loved ones.
There you go. If you have a time machine, all bets are off. What would you do?
Well, for me, you guys know I don't drink coffee, but I would finally have a reason to go to Starbucks, so I'd have to stay.
So Rita's going to stay and paint and Joe's going to go back. But when they get there, it comes to fruition that the time machine was just a amusement park.
And I love when they actually go through the ride and you got Charlie Chaplin dressed up like Hitler.
He was a Nazi supporter.
You have the dinosaurs fighting in World War II or III or whatever it is. And you've got the saved everybody instead of the UN.
Right. Maybe it's for the best that Joe has to stay.
You know what the ride reminded me of?
It's a Small World.
No, it reminded me of one of the movies you like, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And the kids have the viewfinder and they're narrating history about the captain and all that. And it's totally like the wrong history.
Oh, that's funny. You know what? I probably didn't even pay attention to that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I thought of It's a Small World too.
Yeah.
That was where my brain first went.
and so Camacho names Joe vice president, and eventually he becomes president. Him and Rita get married. They have kids. I thought it was interesting that Joe picks Frito to be the vice president. What do you guys think of that? Wow.
I think that's pretty much.
Think about
Oh,
it.
for fuck's sakes.
Well, if you think about it, that's the only real friend he has, and so he had to pick somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, Rita and Joe and their 3 kids live happily ever after. Did you catch the stinger at the end?
Yes, at the very end of the credits, if you actually manage to make it through all the credits and haven't already given up on this movie, you get another pod has now opened up, and who gets out?
Upgrade.
Upgrade gets out, and he makes a comment about he gonna go find his hoe.
Yeah. And so that's back in 2006, right? To be honest, I didn't know it was there. I didn't wait for it as I was doing my research for this film. That's when I found out, so I had to go watch it, and yeah.
Well, now I feel like
Whatever.
we need a sequel to see if Upgrade found the hoe.
You want a sequel to this movie?
Absolutely.
What the fuck are you smoking? Are you still at the Devil's House?
I'm too stoned to drive to the devil's house.
That's right. What'd you think of the ending there, guy?
I don't know. It was over.
There you go. That's what he thought about the ending. It was fucking over.
Did you catch Mike Judge's cameo? His voice was the one for the Demolition Derby. He was the announcer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely missed that.
He also voiced he was the announcer on the Masturbation Network as well.
Oh, was he? Yeah. Funny.
Welcome to a new segment we like to call
Face the wheel.
The Premise is Simple. I will spin the wheel and whatever category comes up, John and Don will apply it to the movie we are reviewing. Once they have presented their idea, it's up to you, the listeners. Let us know via social media or our website which idea you like best. And here are the categories: mashup, plot, rename, genre, reboot. Fuck it. I liked it better when it was called Spin Again. Pick any. Add any character from any movie. And here we...
The wheel this week has landed on reboot.
All right, there we go. We have to reboot Idiocracy?
If I was going to reboot it, first of all, I'd have to probably start with a different cast. Luke Wilson did okay in this movie, but I am going to make this an action thriller. I'm going to make this a Total Recall type movie. First of all, we got to put Tom Cruise in it. And the world has now been taken over by Scientology. And basically everybody is just kind of loopy. Sorry to any Scientologists out there, but the world has gone loopy in this whole, religion created by L. Ron Hubbard. And so we need our main character to go and figure out how to deprogram everybody and get society back on track.
I like that. That's not bad. What about you? You got anything?
A reboot's just like a sequel, right?
Well, you're making a new version of the first movie.
Okay. I think for my reboot, I would kind of go in a similar direction as you would, John. I would really kind of emphasize make a similar movie where everybody's kind of dumb, but maybe make it emphasize where people just got way too into sci-fi tropes. Like you just kind of have this mix and mashup of like Star Wars tropes, Star Trek tropes, just like all like classic wacky sci-fi things, and that just like became mainstream culture in like this dumb world.
Yeah, that's not bad too. I don't know if I fucking have one. If I were to reboot Idiocracy, the first thing that came to my mind was, instead of actual stupidity as the crux of it, I would probably go to like an occult or a cuckoo type of gathering of people. I don't want to say religion because I don't want to offend anybody, but yeah.
So what kind of saying along the lines of, it's similar to what I was saying, is that religion and spiritual belief has taken over and education has gone to the wayside. People are, instead of believing, in science creating things, that, God or somebody did everything, so we don't need to learn anything.
No, I don't want to bring in religion specifically, because people have the right to believe what they want to believe. Now, like, the cults where all the dumb shit happens, where it just, sisters marry their brothers and they all live on a fucking farm and they're all cannibal kind of people. I mean, that shit really does exist. Mm-hmm. That to me is cuckoo.
So a cult has taken over basically the world.
There you go. A cult.
I think another interesting concept for a reboot that just kind of came to my head was take this movie, but instead of the emphasis being on like the stupidity aspect of it, maybe more focus in on like US culture's obsession with like image, and so maybe just make it more like of an image based kind of movie.
Superficial.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's good. That would be a good reboot.
So everybody's just too much into themselves to care about anything else going on in the world.
Right. And it's up to the main character to get people to love themselves as they are and not as what the world sees them as. Holy fuck, boys. We just rebooted Idiocracy. Well done, Nolan. Good job, buddy.
Thank you.
And there you have it, listeners. Let us know via social media and our website who you thought had the better use of category. And that concludes this week's
Face the Wheel.
All right, boys, what do you think? You guys are ready to rate this flick?
I'm ready to rate this flick. John, are you ready to rate this flick?
Why me? Every time Don says lead, follow, or get out of the way, I get out of the way.
Yeah, very good. Professor, how do we rate our movies?
We do our ratings on a scale of 1 to 5 fucks. 5 fucks is a movie that we think is cinematic gold. A 1 fuck movie is a movie where you watch it and you're kind of one and done. You know what? I'm never going to watch that again.
And what's a 0?
A 0 fuck movie is where you get done watching it, turn to your buddy and say, oh, for shit's sake, what the hell? Why would you make me watch? I want 1 hour and 34 minutes of my life back.
Or in other words, we just don't give a fuck. All right, Nolan, you are filling in. Guess what, buddy? You get to go first.
Idiocracy is one of the best non-fiction documentaries I've seen in a long time. No, I'm just kidding. Idiocracy is a dumb fun movie, so it's not for everyone. Depending on your sense of humor, your enjoyment while viewing will vary. The movie also shows its age with its choice of profanity and CGI. It does, however, have some funny scenes. Overall, I didn't hate the movie. I didn't really like it either. I think it's worth one watch if you're looking for lowbrow humor. I can't imagine I'll rewatch Idiocracy anytime soon. I would recommend watching the first few episodes of King of the Hill instead, So I'm rating Idiocracy 1.75 fucks.
All right, 1.75 fucks from Nolan. You or me there, guy?
I can go next.
All right, buddy, go ahead.
Would you like to guess what my rating would be this week?
Sure. I am going to say that you are giving Idiocracy 0.75 fucks.
Is that your final answer?
No, let's go 1.5 fucks because that's my final answer.
Okay. Hey, y'all. So, I watched this movie called Idiocracy, and let me tell you, it's a kind of weird, it's set in the future where everyone's super dumb, and this average dude named Joe gets stuck in it. He's the smartest dude around because everyone else is just majorly dumb. The thing I admire about Idiocracy is that its premise is believable and it almost feels like it's ahead of its time. It's as if we are currently witnessing the dumbing down of our society in real time. My other issue is that they play up the dumbness of the movie so well, it makes it hard to watch in some parts. The movie easily goes from funny to annoying in many parts as the maturity level feels that it drops down to a I know you are, but what am I kind of level. For that reason, it's a one and done for me. I might recommend seeing it once for anybody who likes Mike Judge type humor, but beyond that, it's a really hard movie to rewatch. So yeah, Idiocracy, that's going to get 2 out of 5 fucks from me. It's got some laughs, some interesting takes on society, but overall, it's hard to watch without getting annoyed. And there you have it.
Motherfucker! Yeah, I got it wrong. That's all right. 2 fucks, huh?
2 fucks.
Wow, you gave that movie a lot of credit. Idiocracy. I did see it back in the day, and I remember finding it amusing and back then kind of clever. Maybe even scary as to what the future could be for mankind. Going back and watching it again last night, it just does not hold up. The dialogue doesn't hold up. The graphics don't hold up. The story is still the same, and there are still bits that make me laugh out loud. So I do like to think that I found some redeeming qualities in this film, and that would be Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph. I didn't mind Dak Shepard as much as you guys did. I think he's funny, and I'm actually kind of a big fan. But other than that, there's just a lot of wrong with this movie, and it's not even the story or the cast. It's just the way it's kind of brought to us. And at an hour and 24 minutes, some of this dragged for me. And if a movie that's an hour and 24 minutes drags for me, that is a problem. I would definitely chalk this movie up to absurd. So with that, I'm giving Idiocracy 1 fuck. With 1 fuck from me, 2 fucks from the comic book guy, and 1.75 fucks from Nolan, that gives Idiocracy an average of 1.5 fucks, which now puts it in the 36th spot. It is slightly better than Halloween, the 2007 remake, Scanner Darkly, and Rock of Ages. It is slightly worse than Moulin Rouge, Blazing Saddles, and Cape Fear. So,
if you only had 2 movies left to watch in your life between Scanner Darkly and Idiocracy, which one would you watch?
I would probably watch Idiocracy.
I think so too.
I don't know this other movie.
Oh.
No, from shocker. When I ask you to come on to the podcast, what do you think we're going to talk about? Science?
I have so much fun when I come on here. I'm not a movie guy, but it's just for some reason.
Are you sure? Because I just want to make sure you're having a good time.
No,
I thought he was going to share his travel tips going to Turkey.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Oh yeah, Turkey. I'm very familiar with Turkey.
Hey, motherfucker, that's my shtick. Get your own fucking Kool-Aid there, bud. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of 3 Guys and a Flick. If you would like to know which movie we're going to be reviewing next, please check out our website. Speaking of which, hey, John, where can they find us?
Well, they can find us at 3guysanaflick.com, where we go ahead and post all of our show notes, movie scores, and anything else we feel like posting. We also have a form on the website where you can go ahead and submit a movie you would like us to review next. Go ahead and add your movie to that Bronco helmet. You can also find us at all of social media and any place that hosts podcasts. And if you are listening to us on anywhere like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything like that, go ahead and give us a like. Of course, give us a 5 and leave us some comments so that we can hear from you.
All right. I just want to thank Jeremy Z for throwing this into the Bronco helmet. We had a lot of fun talking about it. I hope we didn't offend you. If you absolutely love this movie, then good on you for that. And I also want to thank anyone else who listens and who has suggested a movie. If you keep listening, we'll keep recording. For Three Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm Nolan.
I'm Beaton.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
The years passed. Man came. Man came. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Were you going to stop me?
No.
That's not wrong.
You kind of stopped yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. Brought to you by Carl's Jr. Tonight's episode, Idiocracy.
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 Idiocracy. Tonight's Idiocracy. Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
What?
Idiocracy.
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 Idiocracy. Oh, I have no idea. Did you take a picture?
I thought about it and I
You
did.
fucking creeper. Why would you think about it?
Because nobody's going to believe what I saw walking down your street.
I'm assuming that Owen. Joe's higher register conflicts with average anti-intelligentism. Intellectualism. Camacho states that Joe will resolve unfruitful cop yields, dust storms.
You said cop yields.
Yeah.
I said cop?
Cop yields.
Fuck you. And so, I always say that. And so, Rita and Frito discover that Joe's reintroduction?
Yeah.
Joe and Frito discover that Rita and Frito's. All right, I'll go next. Idiocracy. What is it?
Idiocracy.
You had it right the first time.
Right. That was the first time you had it right first.
This is like the favorite time of the podcast.
Mhm.
I love how John picked up his paper because he's got names for us tonight.
Nice.
All right, fire away there. I have one.
What's yours?
And I just came up with it. Idiocracy.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Yeah?
That is a good one. Mine was into her crotch I see or into crotchery.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Those are the only two you had?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you there? Do you got one?
I got to think about it.
I like into crockery. Is that what you said? Or
Idiocracy.
idiocracy. I like that.
Yeah, you do. All right. May all of your days and nights be filled with happiness. All right. Fuck off. Good night.